Buddies, so we have officially finished Awakened Evil in my Keep Your Soul series, and I had a lot of fun reading it for you guys, and I am really sorry I didn't get this out like I was supposed to. So I am really excited to start reading Wicked Curse, which I am like so excited to start reading this. I think I'm going to start reading it probably after the New Year's. I think it would be fun to start a new book for the New Year's. So I'm really excited to start reading this. So now that this book is done, when I finished writing it, this was like a last minute thing back in 2019 is when I published it. I have to look. Oh, 2020. February 2020. Okay. No, that's when I had it printed. I can't remember when I published it, but when I got it done, I knew I wanted to do like a bonus short story. And this is from Gina's point of view. This was way before she met Olivia and her family and what's been going on. So Gina is now in her 30s right now. So this is when she moved to Traverse City and she moved into her new house where she lives now. And she has this experience. And I had a lot of fun writing it, so I hope you guys enjoy it too as well. So this is called The Yellow Dress, a short story by author Ashlyn-Bell, which is me. Okay, so The Yellow Dress. 25-year-old Gina Medlock moved to Traverse City, Michigan. It was time to move on and start fresh, to leave the past behind and think of what the future holds and what God has set for her. Gina moved into a one-story house behind a public library. It was perfect for her, just the right size. There was a nice big living room to watch TV and relax in, with no one taking the remote and changing the channel or fighting over the biggest couch to lay on. A nice office big enough to work in and to do research. A dream kitchen to cook in and to enjoy each meal. The master bedroom had its own bathroom. That was great because sharing a bathroom with Izzy, her older sister, was no fun. She didn't have to wait around for her turn. Besides, Gina remembered how Izzy always took her time. A few boxes that sat together by the hallway still had things in it. She stood from the couch and walked into the kitchen to make a cup of coffee. The smell and taste always started the day. 2 cups were always enough. Izzy never liked it. All she drank was healthy shakes like chopped fruit in the blender and take it on the go. Gina thought it was gross to blend fruit and then drink it. Once she set the coffee maker to brew, she went into the bathroom and put shirts on hangers. With a glance, the box reminded her of when Socks used to always play in one. When Mom ordered things and left the boxes by the back garage, Socks would play or sleep in them. Not having Socks with her to start over was hard. Even though he passed away when she was 16, it's still hard not having her best friend with her. Socks was more like a son to her, not just a pet or an animal walking around the house. Any pet lover would feel the same way. 9 years without Socks was like a missing puzzle piece from her life. If she did find it, she knew it wouldn't fit right because he was gone. Nothing fixed right after his death. No more playing together. No more naps. No more feeding him. That place in her heart was empty still to this day. She released a breath, thinking of how much Socks had her laughing or made her day a lot better. Now, without him there, who will she go to if she needed comfort? Who will she talk to for understanding? How will she take on another hard day? She walked out of the room and took a white cup from the drainer and poured herself some coffee, then sat at the kitchen table, feeling the urge to cry. After she took a sip of the yummy hot coffee, a bright purple and pink butterfly came from the hallway and went straight into the living room, from the couch and past the coffee table. Gina paused with both hands clenched on the cup, staring at it. Did she leave a window open? She looked out the windows in the kitchen by the office. They were shut. She glanced over by the two windows that were on each side of the fireplace and by the front door. They too were all shut and locked. She knew they needed to be open because it was nice out. When she got up to open the front door so the butterfly would leave the house, she caught the scent of fresh paint and crayons. That was something out of the ordinary because she didn't paint or color, only when she was 5 years old. She followed the scent past the living room and turned back towards the kitchen. When she faced the hallway, there stood a little girl in a yellow dress with colorful butterflies stitched on it. Gina squealed, bringing both hands to her mouth, taking a step back. She was soaked wet from head to toe. Her shorter, lank, light brown hair dripped from the ends, including her fingertips. The butterfly flew over towards the girl, as if it was attached to her in some way. Within seconds of seeing the little youngster, she vanished with the butterfly. This can't be happening. Not here, not now. Not in my new house. Who was she and where did she come from? Could she be buried here, under the house, in the backyard? Oh God, I hope not. She hurried over to her box with all her ghost meter gear and pulled the Bible out. She flipped the pages to Genesis, and right before she started to read, she heard crying, as if lost and alone. Gina stared at the hallway and lowered the Bible, then took a step forward and said, "Hello?" She stepped in the hallway and saw the little girl walk into her bedroom. She set the Bible down on the table in the hall and walked to her room. And there she was in the far corner with her back to Gina, her head tipped down. Gina's eyes widened and her heart thudded. Being this close to a ghost had her think of other encounters she had in the past at a young age. The misty shadow that never failed to scare her from the bedroom closet and always found a way to sneak up on her. The blue-eyed boy who wandered off too far and paid the price, and Disney girl who was a little too curious for her own age and was discovered in the woods weeks later by hunting dogs. After accepting her abilities, she had plenty of ghost visit her, like Peggy, a little girl she called her childhood friend. Gina walked closer but kept a gap because she didn't know what would happen if she did get too close. And she didn't want to scare this little girl either. She reached a hand down and touched her shoulder. "It's okay, you don't have to be scared." The little girl turned and looked at her, then grabbed Gina's wrist tight as if she needed somebody desperately. At that second, Gina felt an icy cold chill spike through her body, like she was hit by a wave of needles and pins. She opened her eyes and was in a bedroom that had big colorful pictures hanging on all four walls of butterflies that were painted and others were colored. Everything was black and white. In front of Gina was the little girl. Her tiny yellow sundress stuck out the most, just like when she had first saw her. There was something about it that had her wanting to know more about this child. Jaylin, a woman called from the other room. Your snack is ready. She set the large purple crayon down and ran out of the room. Her name must be Jaylin. She walked out of her bedroom and stepped out into the long, wide hallway that was covered with gray carpet with some white mixed in it. Along the walls were family pictures of pets and kids at the beach. A family picnic at the park. One picture had a 5-month-old baby sitting up with the name Jaylin imprinted on the front of the dress. She was sitting between 2 German Shepherd dogs. The dogs had to have been a year old at the time. She stopped in the living room and saw 2 other little kids sitting on the floor watching TV, a boy and a girl. In the kitchen, the mother had finished making the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for all the kiddos. By the screen door that led to the front yard were suitcases. Kids, your sandwiches are done. She grabbed 2 plates and set them on the table. Maya, Wayne, please come sit at the table. She turned and said, Jaylin, honey, will you grab the other plate, please? Yes, Mommy. Once she did, all the kids ran to the table and sat down. The mother was pregnant, by the looks, 7 months. When baby brother gets here, he can have one too, Jaylin said. The mother kissed her on the head and said, yes, he will. His name will be Braxton, Wayne said. After Jaylin finished eating, she jumped down from the high chair and ran outside past the suitcases. Gina followed and saw her playing with 2 German Shepherd dogs. One had a bright red collar and the other had a pink one. Jaylin threw the ball and said, go get it, King. The male dog took off down towards the lake as Jaylin followed. A van sat in the driveway with the other 2. The back was half full of lawn chairs and a case of water bottles. A box had chips and snacks in it. Jaylin grabbed the ball and threw it up the small hill. Queen, get it, girl. The ball bounced and hit the door and landed in the van by the front seat. Jaylin giggled and ran to the van and climbed in. She stretched her little fingers out, then grabbed the ball and leaned up, hitting her head on the reverse stick. The ball fell to the seat and she said, ouch. Both dogs barked as the van door slammed shut. It slowly rolled backwards down the small hill towards the pond. King chased after the van as Queen ran up the hill barking a warning sign. King leaped into the pond and swam towards the van. Like a punch in the stomach, everything changed back to normal, and Gina dropped to both knees and held the side of her head. She rested her body against the edge of the bed, gripping the blankets, catching her breath. She opened her eyes and the vision was blurry like she needed glasses. Jaylin was out of sight. The pressure on her brain and the front of her forehead released slowly and her eyesight cleared. She stood up, taking it easy. After a vision, she always had a headache and felt dizzy and tired like she hadn't slept in days. Gina went into the kitchen and grabbed some painkillers and took 2. She went back into the living room and laid on the couch. A nap was needed. She held the pillow close and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she fell asleep, remembering how Socks used to curl up in a ball by her head. Most nights, if he couldn't sleep, he would jump on the bed and play with Gina's hair. She missed the feeling of how it used to help her fall asleep. Dun dun dun. Okay, it is a long short story, so I'm trying to figure out if I should keep reading. Let me see. Okay, I think I keep going. Okay, never mind, sorry. Okay, then there's like a paragraph break. Gina opened her eyes, and right away she noticed the pain was gone. She sat up and looked at the time on the wall. 10 o'clock. I need to do something and not sleep all day. She got up from the couch, rubbing both eyes, and looked at the boxes. She still had to unpack. But first she needed to find a job. She thought about the public library, and it was just across the street too. She grabbed her purse and slipped both shoes on and headed over. The spring breeze felt good against her skin. She always loved being outside at a younger age. Her and Socks used to sit outside on the porch as she colored or played with her dolls. Socks used to watch her. She walked across the street and down the sidewalk where a few black benches sat with names on it that read in memory of. Birds chirped and picked at the ground and the grass, then flew up towards the sky. Gina saw a store with antiques in the windows. It reminded her of how much Mom loved to collect old items from years ago. It wasn't just something fun to do with Mom, it was a learning experience as well. A couple squirrels side by side darted across the sidewalk and up the base of the tree. She opened the front door, and the desk was the first thing she saw. A young girl, about 21, with shorter length blonde hair and black glasses, looked up and smiled. "Hi, can I help you?" "Yes, I'm Gina Medlock, and I just moved from Bel Air, Michigan. I was wondering if you had any openings." "Okay," the young lady reached her hand out and said, "I'm Ann Keener. Nice to meet you." Gina smiled and shook her hand. Ann opened a drawer to the desk and pulled out a file and opened it. "I'll have you fill out this application, and when you are finished, you can bring it back whenever you want." "Okay, thank you. I also live right behind the library too, so I will never be late." "Great, it won't take you long then." "Have a nice day, you too." Once Gina arrived back home and closed the door, she set her keys on the little tray and slipped her shoes off one by one. She stood there thinking of how Socks used to come running to her when she got home. The memory filled her eyes with tears. A soreness settled in her throat. Shutting both eyes to keep the tears from flowing worked half the time. Trying to stay strong without Socks was the hardest, and not having Mom or Dad around to talk with was like a knife in the chest. To this day, she still regretted sneaking out of the house to see a boy. That sin will never fade away or disappear. It was like a tattoo that couldn't be removed. The sin always returned like a deadly snake to bite the past right back in her. She sat down at the table and filled out the application so it was done with. And she still had a lot to unpack that she was dreading and knew it had to be done at some point. She always did things at the end of the day since she didn't have a job yet she could do it later in the afternoon and get some of it done. There would be less work at nighttime when she could relax in the tub and read the Bible. And then this is another paragraph break. That night, Gina tossed and rolled and couldn't stop thinking about the job she wanted and Jalen, the little girl in the yellow dress. Laying on her back, a bright pink butterfly flew over her face, catching her attention. Right away, she knew it was a sign from Jalen. "Hey, you," a little voice said. She leaned on both elbows and saw the edge of the bed sink as the blankets tightened over her legs and feet, as if someone sat down. Within seconds, the blankets loosened and she could now move. She lifted her head, then sat up and saw a wet spot where someone had sat. It was real. She leaned over and touched it. It was soaking wet, as if someone poured water there. She looked over the edge of the bed and saw a puddle of water that was in the shape of tiny footprints leading out into the hallway. She pulled the blankets off, still staring at the water spots. She stepped over the footprints and followed them past the guest bathroom and out into the hallway behind the couch. "Hello? Jalen, is that you?" Gina pulled the curtains back and saw that the other houses across the street had no lights on. She did hear a couple of dogs bark a few blocks away. Gina walked back to the hallway and realized she had to clean up the water. "Thanks, Jalen." So she did and climbed back into bed. And then another paragraph break. A few days later, once Gina emptied most of the boxes and threw them in the dumpster, the house phone rang as she walked in past the kitchen and office. She pressed talk and held it to her ear, then said hello. "Hi, is this Gina Medlock?" "Yes." "Hello, Gina." "Hello. This is Anne from the public library, and I wanted to let you know that you got the job." "That's great. Thank you so much." "You're welcome. Would you like to start tomorrow at 9 a.m. so I can show you around?" "Of course." "Yes, I would love to." "Okay, that's great. I'll see you tomorrow then. Thank you. Have a nice day." "You too, Gina. Bye-bye." And then there's another paragraph break. There's 1, 2. Okay. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'll stop there. And then tomorrow, I will read the rest of the short story. So, I had a lot of fun writing this short story because, for one, I think Gina just has an interesting history, an interesting past to write about. So when I actually first started to write her character, I knew that I was going to have to dig deep into her past as a child. Like, how old was she when she first saw a ghost? And I did bring that up in the beginning of the short story, like how old she was when she first met Peggy, which was the little ghost girl that she had met when she was like 5. So then I was thinking, I'm like, I need to write a short story about Gina, because her character was like the most fun to write in Awakened Evil. And I was like, well, maybe I could write a short story like how she was treated in high school and if they found out if she was a psychic or not. So I was like, or maybe I could do it after high school. So she's 25 in this short story. And I'm like, okay, where's she at in life? So I had to really think about it. And then I got an idea from, okay, now I need to think about like signs. Like when ghosts passed away, every ghost is like different because they'll give you signs. Like, I see a lot of feathers, and that's a sign from my dad. Or there'll be like a red cardinal, or there will be like butterflies or something. So, and I do love butterflies. And I think during the time I had finished this book, I was writing another book, and I fell in love with it. So I was like, maybe I could write a short story about a little girl, a spirit little girl. And I think right now you guys will kind of get a little hint how she died. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do signs, when she's around, there's butterflies. And then I love dogs, and it was fun to pick what kind of dogs I wanted to do. One of my most favorite dog ever is a husky, because we had one when I was growing up. And then I wanted to do a German Shepherd. I love German Shepherds. And I also love Golden Retrievers. Those are like my 3 top main favorite dogs ever. And we had all 3 of those when I was growing up. So I decided to do 2 German Shepherds, King and Queen. And they're very protective of the kids and the family. And I wanted to bring in like the 2 dogs. So Queen runs up the driveway to the house, and then King actually jumps into the pond towards the van. So I think you guys will kind of get a little hint on how she died, but I had a lot of fun with her character. She appears, like just like Henry, just like the 2 little girls did in this book, Eleanor and Margaret. Those 2 were a lot of fun to write. And they do show up a lot more in this one, because they just became important characters, which I didn't even know that they were going to even be important, like an important character or whatever. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun writing the short story. And there is another part to it, which I think you guys will love the ending. I know I did. But I think I have 4 pages left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I got like 4 pages left, but I will read that tomorrow. What's tomorrow? I have no meeting Thursday night. Yeah, I don't think there's anything going on tomorrow. So I think after work, I will be able to read this. So, and then after the short story is done, we are going to start Wicked Curse, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And then after this one will be Mystical. This one was a lot of fun to write too. I added in 3 new characters, including the other ones from the other books. I had to do, in this one, Izzy, Gina's older sister Izzy has her own point of view in this one. And I'm just like, oh, I can't wait, because I had a lot of fun doing Izzy's point of view, because she has a daughter, and yeah, a lot of crazy things happens in that book. So this one, I can't wait to start reading it. I'm excited. Okay, so tomorrow night, since I don't have a meeting because it's gonna be Christmas Eve and then Christmas, and I will finish this. And I think I said last week I was gonna read a few favorite poems. I was going to, and then I totally forgot, and I was like, oh crap, I hope no one's like mad at me or anything. So, but I might read a few favorite poems of mine. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed writing this book, and I am going to miss reading it, because this book was kind of like developing the story further, and I just had a lot of fun with it. So, I'm just really excited to start reading Wicked Curse. It's going to be awesome. So anyways, thank you all for joining me, and I hope you guys have a really good holidays. Well, I'll see you guys tomorrow. So, but anyways, if you don't get a chance to see this, I hope you have a great Christmas, and I hope you guys have a safe and fun Christmas, and God bless, and I'll see you in the next video. So